point of view, what do you observe as the most common causes of driving people towards, dying by suicide?
Beautiful question. I think top number one, isolation and feeling like you're a burden. You have to get to that space.
Okay.
And from that, then, individuals, would try and attempt. But other conditions that come to play are things like depression, where it's characterized by sadness, hopelessness, difficulty in concentration. And, I can put up a mask today. I can put up this beautiful mask. But deep within, I am not okay. Anxiety is another cause. Conditions such as schizophrenia, lifestyle issues, socio-economic issues such as finance.
Pearl Radio, the home of fresh and classic hits.
And you're hanging out with the girlies, but in this hour, it's not just going to be the girlies. We have Dr. with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I am well this morning. How are you?
We're good.
We're good. We're so excited to have you here.
I am equally excited to be here.
So maybe we could just start with you introducing yourself and what you do.
All right. My name is Moses Masharia, and I am a mental health practitioner. I specialize in the area of employee wellness, and I am a trauma specialist as well. And I am excited to be here this morning.
Thank you so much for coming. It's been Suicide Prevention Month, in case you didn't know. And we need to honor that.
We need to.
By just even starting that conversation, you know. And maybe we could start with the basics of, what is the situation currently looking in terms of suicide cases in the country right now?
Amazing. Suicide cases in the country, according to WHO, they're telling us that we stand at 6.1 per 100,000 individuals. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And deaths stand at 4 deaths per day at least, which is a sad state of affair. Africa, all right? Because we are in Africa. We are home to at least 6 out of 10 countries globally. So that means it's deep-seated in Africa. As a Kenyan, I'll ask, sisi tuko number? Sisi tuko number? We are actually at number 60. And I can actually argue that out because you see, this topic we're talking about today, it's actually a taboo. It's something that we don't talk about.
Not at all.
We don't say when someone dies by suicide. It's, condemned even in our churches. And maybe the number might rise up. If they were to do these statistics, they shared these numbers in 2019. If they were to do the statistics today, I think Kenya would actually be up high and not number 60. Since I am the only gent in this room, I have to talk about my gender.
Yes, please.
And men, we are 3 times more likely to die by suicide, unlike women.
Oh no.
In Africa, the number stands at 18 per 100,000, which is a global high according to WHO. It's higher in their global region. So Africa, we are actually leading. Those are the numbers.
Oh my.
Very scary numbers there.
And just talking about, how as Africans we look at suicide as such a taboo. I think it's such an African thing.
We shun away from this conversation.
Like we won't even talk about it. We won't even say, somebody died by suicide or, this is what happened. What are some other misconceptions or myths that go around suicide?
Well, there is one that's very common, that the individual is very selfish. They are just only seeking attention. And to be honest, that's not the truth. Actually, in their headspace, these individuals totally love you. And one of the leading causes that, push an individual to suicidality is actually isolation and feeling like they are a burden. Why would I feel that I am a burden? Simply because I am putting your needs ahead of mine. And so when you think that, they are being selfish, no, they're not being selfish. In their world, they're thinking about you guys, that you would be better without them.
Oh no, that's heartbreaking.
That's very heartbreaking.
So we need to do away with that line, because I've heard it so many places that suicide is selfish. Like you're being selfish if you're even thinking it. Like there's something wrong with you. You need to like stop being selfish. Think about other people. So we need to do away with that line.
Totally do away with that line, and also get to the understanding that this individual is unwell. And I think for the longest time, including our laws, we never factored that in. Now things are changing.
Yes.
Things are changing in our country with policies that are being implemented in this area of mental wellness. And I see that we are moving towards that place where we are recognizing this individual as someone who's unwell.
That's incredible. And we'll be talking about the policies a bit later on. But from a professional point of view, what do you observe as the most common causes of driving people towards, dying by suicide?
Beautiful question. I think top number one is what I've already shared: isolation. And feeling like you're a burden. You have to get to that space.
Okay.
And from that, then, individuals, would try and attempt. But other conditions that come to play are things like depression, where it's characterized by sadness, hopelessness, difficulty in concentration. And I can put up a mask today. I can put up this beautiful mask, but deep within I am not okay. Anxiety is another cause. Conditions such as schizophrenia, lifestyle issues, socioeconomic issues such as finance.
Hapo
sana tunaanguka nayo. Hallelujah. Tunaanguka nayo. Because when faced with crisis, individuals don't know how to navigate. So finances, relationships. I was in a particular forum where an individual was sharing about how one man was divorced and he was linked to care but died by suicide before someone cared for them. And it's a sad state of affair. How we see it in the dailies, how people are, lives are going courtesy of relationships. Trauma and abuse is another one. And I have to speak about this simply because suicide becomes a leading cause, I think number 3 globally, for individuals aged 15 to 29. Age 15 is where lots of mental health cases and issues actually check in. And that's where individuals who have been abused start, naming and shaming these things. And so trauma and abuse is a key thing that leads to suicidality. And lastly, loss and grief. I am unable to cope because I have lost a significant person, and sometimes I feel like just you hear statements like, reserve for me a space in heaven. Those subtle messages. Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh my. All right. And just talking about some of these causes or some of these factors that would lead one to be in that mental state. There was a story that we saw in the dailies, a very, very sad story. And this is of Dr. Mora, who just recently killed herself. Can this be prevented? Could this have been prevented? What do you think about this case?
First, my heartfelt condolences to the family of Dr. Mora and to the entire medical fraternity. I know they're still in a period of mourning and are yet to give feedback around this area. But this would have been prevented. And allow me to speak now as an employee specialist, employee wellness specialist. God has formed us in a way that our bodies, can tolerate a certain level of stress, but we desperately need rest. That's why he commands. He doesn't ask. He commands us to rest. He says, keep the Sabbath day holy. He shows us the model of rest because he works for 6 days and on the 7th day he rests. It's impossible for you as a human to work, for longer hours. Your mind won't be in the right state, to even give out the right kind of support to the people that you're supposed to be supporting in the healthcare space. So this would be mitigated through creating good work rest rhythms for each and every individual in the work area.
And how do we really manage a work-life balance? What do you think we can do to have that balance? Because I think that's where there's something there that just triggers our mental health to be a bit unstable.
All right, Barbara, let me start from, sometimes it's hard to achieve work-life balance, and so I will rephrase it to work life rhythms, because your life and your work have to coexist. You know how you get those calls. Mtoto ni mgonjwa, you get a call. Nyumba iko na shida, you get a call. Or your parent. So they have to have this rhythm where they get to coexist, but we need a work rest balance.
Okay, I like that. Okay,
so work life rhythms and work rest balance. Because for rest you need to rest. And where we left it out, we actually left it out at that particular point where you have exerted your body for quite a long time and you're not getting adequate rest, and that affects your efficiency as an individual. Your productivity dips because you're not resting adequately. But some of the things that you can do in the workplace is maintaining boundaries. Most of us don't have boundaries.
None.
We were conditioned courtesy of I won't say
we get it
where I went to school. So maintain healthy boundaries. Take breaks.
So boundaries from work, like kama ni masaa ya kazi ni masaa ya
kama
kazi.
ni masaa ya kazi, chapa kazi. And also your professionalism. What's being brought to the table. Have a priority task matrix where you handle the things that are urgent and important first, and don't mix up the things. Sometimes people handle things that seem urgent but not important, or things that look important but are not urgent. Always look at handling the things that are urgent and things that are important. Take breaks. Take breaks. It's important. Short breaks really help, revitalize your brain. The other thing is prioritizing self-care. What are some of the things that you love to do? I can see the ladies here like
we've got self-care.
We got a list.
We love self-care.
For men we don't.
Oh my.
Self-care for men is just
it's
getting
nyama choma.
Nyama
choma. Nyama choma is our form of self-care. All right. Priority tasks. Prioritize your tasks. Things like Pomodoro. It's a technique where you work at least for 25 guys in the office. Work for 25 minutes, deep work. Take 5 minutes break. Exert yourself again 25 minutes. You'll see yourself being productive. Or breaking down tasks, big tasks into smaller chunks.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Before we leave the workspace, we cannot leave the workspace without talking to employers, because they're a huge part of the environment that is created in wherever we are working. So how do you think employers can create that environment for, that is supporting their employees' mental health?
Dear employers, this is a message to you. Employers can support employees, number one, by creating employee assistant programs, or how I coin it is employee wellness programs.
Nice.
Where these individuals are able to find support linked to care from the workplace. The truth of the matter is, as I shared, work and life will always coexist. And so financial issues at home will affect productivity at the workplace. Relational issues will affect there are some behavioral things that, that HR are like, where, here is your letter. Would you prioritize employee assistance programs? Number 2, create mental health off days. I know there are sick offs, but just be honorable and create mental health off days for your employees. And I promise you will see your productivity go up. You will be able to see your bottom lines being you're hitting all your markers, you're doing all that's needed, and your business is thriving. So try and employ that and see the big change.
All right,
awesome. And earlier on we were just talking about how suicide is prevalent more in men than in women. Can we just touch on that a bit? Why do you think that's the case?
We are a special gender.
Oh wow.
That's why God had to come down to talk to us.
Oh my.
Controversial.
Kwani we are not special, even us.
No, you're special.
You're special in God's eyes.
In God's eyes. You always have answers. Us, we don't. And you see, men, as I was sharing with you earlier, men don't know how to seek support, don't know how to seek help. It's sad that 75% of men globally who die by suicide never seeked support.
Oh no.
And the reason is, men, we don't know how to name our issues. We don't know. Niko na shida ya pesa, niko na stress, all right? I am, having an emotional breakdown, niko na stress. Kazi haiendi vizuri, niko na stress. Anything that seems not to be going well, sadness, anger, niko na stress. We don't know how to name our issues, and that's where therapy comes in. And I would recommend therapy for any man and any woman, because we all need a therapist. In fact, I tell people that you need 4 people in your life. Number 1, you need a therapist. All right. Number 2, you need a coach, someone who will work with you on a day-to-day basis. Number 3, you need a mentor, someone who can help you navigate the big buckets and your vision. And number 4, you need a peer. In short, I have created for you a whole ecosystem of people who will support you, and you will not be isolated.
Wow.
Okay. There's a question here: how to spot warning signs of suicide, especially for someone you're living with. And I think that's important to get into. What are the cues? Because sometimes it's outright. You hear someone saying they want to take their life or something like that. But sometimes kuna other non-verbal, things you can observe and, just note that this person is not okay and may be struggling with suicidal thoughts.
All right, that's a very beautiful question, actually. Thank you for asking. Some of the signs that we get to see, number 1 is withdrawal and isolation. As I shared earlier, that, isolation and withdrawal seem to be top when it comes to this individual taking their life. So that's very, very key. Is this person very isolated? And then verbal cues, as I shared, it might be direct or indirect. Direct, like, me, I want to take my life, or indirect, like, I wish I died. You guys wouldn't be bothered. I don't want to be a bother. Save for me space, as I shared earlier. Save for me space in heaven. So such things, such communication, such verbal cues. This individual talking about feeling trapped, that's also a cue. Feeling like a burden. Sleep problems.
Too much or too little? Or both?
Well, sometimes both, because they're indicative of depression. And so it's important to link this individual to care so that it can actually be, diagnosed what's going on with them. Increased substance use and reckless living. You met just someone living life on the fast lane. And also another cue would be someone giving away their precious possessions. And so I have this beautiful jewelry and be like, I want to bless you with this. Anxiety. And lastly, loss of interest in things that, they once enjoyed and brought them joy.
And now that we've seen some of these indicators, how or what is the most effective way to talk to someone who we are seeing these signs in?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. I know for most individuals it might be hard, getting in touch with someone who's going through this, and you really don't know how to go about it. I think for starters, you need to share that you are there, that you're present, and that you love and care about them. That's the very first place to start from. Number 2, listen. Don't get distracted. Listen actively. Listen both with your ears and with your eyes. Observe. Depression always wears a mask. It's always happy. But if you look into the windows of the soul, someone's eyes, you can tell a lot. So listen actively. Be non-judgmental. Don't guilt trip them. Don't criticize or blame them. Instead, create a safe space where they can share what's going on. And sometimes you may need to actually ask them, are you having thoughts? Do you have a plan? Because that sort of helps you categorize and you can see. And if they are in a place where they are in immediate danger, please don't leave them. And also seek out support so that you're able to just support them through.
How can one distinguish between an introvert and the social withdrawal that Daktari was just talking about?
All right. Let me speak into social withdrawal. Because there you will see a change of behavior. So in case someone was once bubbly, now you see them, isolated. They have this sense of sadness. They don't enjoy the things that brought them joy. These are the people who would plan for trips. All of a sudden they just don't want to do the trips to Vasha and all these other places that we all like. The places of vibes. So that is actually indicative. But for an introvert, this is a personality thing that probably this individual has been like that for the longest. And so when we talk about introverted individuals, someone who's keeping things to himself. They don't have a lot of social bandwidth. They just enjoy their time alone. They don't like doing lots of things. Chances are these individuals have been like that since early times, since when they were kids. So those are some of the things that you'd look out for. An individual who was once because there are individuals who are introverted but love social engagement. They always have this battery which they have to charge and engage. But if you see them being totally disengaged, they don't even charge their social battery, that's a red flag.
Okay, all right, awesome.
So we had mentioned some policies that are being put in place to support mental health generally and suicide particularly. Maybe you could talk to us about some of those policies.
Beautiful. I think it was around 25th October 2023 where our Chief Justice, Lady Honorable Martha Koome, proposes a bill to remove the imprisonment penalty for attempted suicide, which was a big win for us as a nation. We are yet to get there because still, there are lots of amends that need to be made. But those policies are coming through slowly by slowly. We recently had the national guideline for mental health conditions being released, I think 2 weeks ago, and that's a win for us in the mental health space. So we are seeing those policies coming along and being supportive to actually address the need and the key issue. Individuals are moving from a place of, we're moving towards a place of soul flourishing. And so mental health conditions are becoming center stage, and people are becoming aware of their issues, aware of their traumas. And therefore, when the government tries to create these policies to guide and steer the conversation to help, in the practice, it really means a lot.
Amazing. It has been the World Suicide Awareness Month, and you said one of the key things you guys have been talking about in the fraternity of the mental health space is prevention. How can we prevent suicide?
How can we prevent? And I think the one thing that we can do is reach out. Reach out to the friends you have who are the loudest, who, they are the life of the party. reach out to them even more.
Okay.
Let's be our brother's keepers. I think that's where it begins, where we reach out to each other and actually engage in conversation, and legit, authentic conversations. I was sharing with you earlier when we were conditioned and someone asked you, how are you? Our generic answer, you know, Kenya-wide
very
is,
default.
I am fine.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I may say I'm
true.
fine, and then I have other
And
issues.
I'm
You
fine,
could have a
but
story.
nimetoka hosi.
nimetoka tu hosi, niko fine, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm from an accident.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
are you really
I'm fine,
fine?
but
Really
sijakula
fine.
2 days.
Na
I
sijakula 2
imagine.
days. So taking that time to pause and say, how are you really doing? And allowing yourself to be slightly vulnerable. You know, we have individuals who are hyper independent, and for me, I always tell people that's a sign of trauma. When you come for therapy, we will actually see that actually indicative of a trauma, you know, response that you actually are doing. So number one, connect. Number two, just being the gift of presence. I think sometimes we don't know the value of that, especially, you know, the place where we said some of the causes is loss and grief.
Yes.
Gift of presence. Let's go back to our Africanicity, our African roots, where, you know, we would circle you when someone dies and even beyond. Let's not do what we always do. You know, we come changisha,
And then
sindikiza
go.
someone, and then also us, we've gone.
It's true.
Actually surround these individuals at this moment, because that's when they need you most.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that I can actually mention.
Amazing.
All right, thank you so much. I love this so much because I'm seeing the call to action from WHO this year as we celebrate World Suicide Prevention Day is start the conversation, and that's exactly what we are doing here, starting the conversation. So even you, as you're listening, start the conversation where you are. If you've been observing someone, you know, who has been acting a bit off, or you just ask them, you know, and provide that space for them to, you know, share. Let us start the conversation. That is for sure step one. Maybe someone's listening, Doc, and they're really, really struggling right now. They are probably battling suicidal thoughts. They're probably in a very, very difficult season of their life, and they're thinking, you know what, I'm done. I'm tired. I am actually tired. Please speak to that person right now.
Wow. For that one who's battling, you know, fighting a dark cause which no one would understand, my message to you is that there is hope and there is help. You don't have to fight this alone. And there are individuals who are ready to help you and to journey with you through the various issues that you are experiencing. And so my call out to you is, would you reach out to a friend? And sometimes you may not have the right kind of words, even if it's the actions of me crying, it's fine. Just reach out to someone, reach out to a mental health professional. And I will share a couple of numbers where, you know, you can call even right now and you'll find support. I think that's what you need to know. And above all, that God loves you and we love you.
Yes, we do.
You care, you matter, your story matter. You are not yet done.
I love that.
Wow. Amazing.
I think you can just go ahead and share numbers where people can reach out.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Allow me to share a couple of partners in the mental health space, and a big shout out to them as well. Emergency Medicine Kenya Foundation, they run a national free toll line helpline. Their number is 0800 723 253. I'll repeat, 0800 723 253. And then we have Befrienders, and their helpline is 0722 178177. I repeat, 0722 178177. And lastly, we have Niskize, who have a helpline of 0900 620 800. I repeat, 0900 620 800.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm sure we've helped someone somewhere because in this time and these times we're living in are very difficult and people are battling so much. So much. So we are glad that we had this conversation, Doc. Thank you for making the time.
Asante sana. Guys can reach me at my socials, Dr. Moses Masharia on Insta, Moses Masharia on LinkedIn, and Moses Masharia on Facebook. They can also, if you are in need of therapy, you can always call on 0702 577 530. I repeat, 0702 577 530. This is the number at NTMCDI, and just say you are in need of therapy, and you can choose from our panel of therapists, of which you will be linked to care.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Asanteni.
Thank you. 96.9 FM, Pearl Radio.